technical issues. 206. Or my driving. Yeah, Annie, yeah, I see Annie. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. For roll call, I have myself, Annie Cathy, Ann Hughes, Emmy Bristow, Jamar Gabreth, Jason Emery, Kyla Leonards, Lisa, I can't ever say your last name, sorry, Lisa, Becca. Thank you. Violet Plummer. We have Keith on the phone. Keith, may I get your last name for roll call? And if you hit *6, you can unmute. We have MCAT, and it looks like in 206 we have Commissioners Vero, Strohmeyer, and Slotnick, and we have Karen Harrison. Am I missing anybody out there?
Brian West.
She's double blocked behind us. The elderly gentlemen have blocked the view.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? Okay, no consent agenda, and we'll go straight to action items with Lisa Biskevich.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to present to you the fiscal year 23 DUI Task Force annual plan. And it's a long document that has lots of rich data in it about our trends in the DUI measurement with what's happening in our community with drinking and driving, drugging and driving. And as you can see, our trends are starting to go back up now that people are moving more in society, it appears, and also the legalization of marijuana. We think there's an uptick with the drug driving because of that as well. So the DUI Task Force Committee really works hard around education, prevention, outreach to reach our communities through our really robust website, Drive Safe Missoula. I would encourage you to visit that. Steve Schmidt does a phenomenal job updating that and putting blogs and data with a lot of rich information about what's happening in our community. And so I would just ask, I would share with you that funding for this program is always a little tenuous with our reinstatement fees. And I think I mentioned this to you last year, but we got the reinstatement fees keep dropping, and you'll see that trend in the data report as well. And we don't really know 100% why that is, but we think it's just a shortage of people, police and sheriffs on the streets to be able to pull people over, and that processing the reinstatement fees, that it's just not coming back to the community like it used to. But last year we were able to find funding from Home Safe Missoula. I don't know if any of you remember Home Safe Missoula, but years ago when Lonnie was in this position, Home Safe Missoula had a fund that was created that would pay bars to send people home in taxis if they were too intoxicated. So they had about $20,000, $30,000, $25,000 that was sitting in this fund. And with the, with the immersion of Lyft and Uber and other transportation, they had this money and they wanted to fold the 501c3, and so they made a gift to the DUI Task Force, Drive Safe Missoula. So we had that bump of funding last year, which was really a nice gift. So we'll be tracking very closely our budget this year and monitoring the status of our funds and our revenue for this program. And we will be applying for a State Farm grant again as well. Steve Schmidt is very talented. I wish he could be here today, but he is not. He is traveling to Billings with his daughter for some medical care. But Steve is putting together right now a young drivers in control program. Steve is very gifted with video production. And so this young drivers in control program that he is putting together for State Farm is going to be for parents and students about driving safe on the road, and it will be very engaging. So State Farm has been funding Steve in that capacity. And I've learned a lot about video production, that it takes like I don't know, 3 hours to make like 1 minute of video. It's a pretty expensive and laborious process. So, but we'll continue to do that, and we'll share. Steve should be done with the project this fall, probably, hopefully, and we'll share that with you when he is completed with that. I think that's about it. Do you guys have any questions for me with the task force plan? And sorry, I've got a little cold today.
No, this is great. Well, not great that things are trending up, but thank you. What is? I don't have the graphs in front of me. How large of a trend up, or what?
Well, we're going back to what I would say is pre-pandemic levels, and so, and I don't have them in front of me either, but
I can
during
look it up.
COVID, everything went down because everybody was staying home, right? So now that we're moving again, we're going back to pre-pandemic levels. So,
What gets people to not drink and drive? Is there a thing that works?
well, I think it's a lot. There's a lot of different things. I think that a lot of it is, well, some people are really addicted, right? So they're just going to continue to drink and drive, right? And then get pulled over. And then we have the DUI treatment court now with Landy Holloway, which is awesome to engage with people that have multiple offenses. But I think that they have this program that's in the bars where it's called Think Twice, where you can blow to see if you are over the limit to drive.
That's a really good idea.
And so I know they're at the Iron Horse and like Stockman's, and they're in a lot of different bars in town. So Steve helped to build that relationship and make that happen.
Probably.
And I know he's working with the university right now to do some work with them because they're going to start opening up alcohol for their events at the stadium. So I think it's like, and he's also presented at some brew pubs with the Think Twice people about like, hey, if you're drunk, don't drive, So I think, always encouraging people to have a designated driver is always the most important thing too. So I think it's the social norming and the messaging over and over to encourage people not to drink and drive. So, and having multiple components of that. So having Think Twice, having Uber and Lyft, having just the messaging be, that you need a designated driver. Also, Steve will be at the fair this year with a Respect to Cage. And I know this is more connected to Buckle Up, but I still think it's also a big awareness piece where he has the car that people survived because they were buckled up, but it's like totally, mangled car. But he gets the greatest conversations from that display. So I think that, Buckle Up and DUI Task Force are very interrelated with the messaging too.
Thank you.
I would move the board approve FY23 DUI Task Force annual plan with MDT officials and the DUI Task Force members.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
See you,
Thank you.
Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Karen.
And Dave, you might want to look into this after being called an elderly gentleman.
Two of us.
Yeah.
More protection now.
Yeah, there we go.
Can I self-bully? That's possible.
I want to thank Jamar Galbraith for kind of spearheading this, and also Chantel Gaynor and quite a few other people in her department. We continue to chip away at some of our more important HR policies, and one of those is addressing and creating a more robust violence, bullying, and intimidation in the workplace policy, which goes along with our discrimination and harassment policy, and adding some good language about workplace support for victims of violence. And I think we found that our policies have not been what we really need for our employees, and being much more clear about the types of harassment that can go on, who to report to, what to do, what the consequences might be, how we try our best to protect confidentiality. And I think this will also help, I know, with a lot of grant funding. PHC needs a much better policy. I know RBS, CJCC does. And this, I think, is just getting us on the right track with where we should be along all kinds of organizations.
That's great.
So the red print is the new language. We crossed out a little bit, but, really added the support for victims of violence too, and took the focus.
Was that just not in place before?
It,
We didn't have a.
we didn't
victim
have
violence
that,
section.
no, nothing like that.
Can you give an example of what would some of the support be if someone was to reach out to you?
It might be getting counseling, also connecting up with our own resources, RDS. I think sometimes people may not even know they can reach out to them confidentially. Maybe even county attorney's office if assault is involved, that kind of thing. Referring them to crime victim advocates, victim witness coordinators, as well as our EAP. Or is there any other special counseling out there that somebody might need? It could even, we talk about, do you need time off to find recuperation in some kind of way or therapy? It could involve the HR department helping to guide that process too. And that HR, we really want to make clear that even if I've had some supervisors say, well, don't I need to witness it before I even report it? It's like, no, if you hear it, see it, think something's going on, we need to know about it in HR. This will be one of our primary training opportunities to start off with first, along with a couple other items that we've been talking about in the employee support group that Ann Hughes has been heading up. Because you hope people know they can access HR, but you don't always know unless you have different methods of getting that information out there, which that's one thing Jamar has been looking at is, we've been investigating, a private confidential phone line to report an incident if somebody feels uncomfortable coming face to face. So those kinds of things we want to look into and just make sure that pipeline of access is open so that we can address issues right away. And we do have issues come up from time to time, at least that are getting to me and that I think we've resolved well.
Great.
And then a lot of times it involves education, not so much disciplinary action, but educating
wonderful.
others. Yeah.
It's really a great outcome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you. And
Yeah.
thanks, Jamar. and Ann.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for everybody who helped put this together.
Okay, I would move that we approve the revised policy.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Jason Emery with.
Well, my item, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Nope, you got it. Go for it.
Yeah, not nearly as interesting as what Lisa was talking about, but useful nonetheless. So we're due to start replacing MDTs, which are the mobile data terminals that the patrol deputies use in their cars.
I thought for a minute we were replacing the Montana Department of Transportation with a different,
Switch.
yes.
That's probably a lot bigger item than just admin at the commissioner's.
You never know, slipping something in here.
Yeah, maybe you have a new superpower. I don't know. So yeah, MDTs, these are the rugged laptops that we put in the patrol vehicles that the deputies use in the field, pretty integral to their job. So we're going to get a little bit of a jump start on it this year with a few dollars that I have left over in a budget. So this is, we're under the $40,000 limit, but we're over my spending limit. So it's here for you to sign. We have competitive quotes. Hopefully they come in. Who knows? Sometimes laptops take 6 months to come in, but we're certainly going to give it a shot and get rolling on those. We have overall almost 40 devices over the course of about the next 12 months that we have to replace. And so they all kind of come open at one time. So pretty straightforward.
Jason, what's the lifespan on these things?
These are about 6 years old. So they've been well used. Yeah.
Jeez.
We try to stretch them out as long as we can. They are very expensive just due to being a rugged device that has to hold
Sure.
up to vibrations and dirt and moisture and all that fun stuff.
And so does the sheriff's department budget pay for this or does you guys pay for it?
A little bit of both. So we actually charge them a little higher maintenance fees in addition to what we would normally charge a department for our yearly cycle. So I do technically cover those. But it was kind of a deal I worked out with the sheriff's office years ago. Instead of trying to plan for these weird, capital transfers and all that, I just charge them the additional fee to help cover, my costs to do that. So.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I would move that the board approve the Chief Information Officer to sign for the procurement of replacement MDTs.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for making this happen.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Correspondence, Allison? Oh, okay, discussion items, events and invitations. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.